Time in 7 years, over 1 million fans were on Broad Street chanting E-A-G-L-E-S as Philly celebrated another Super Bowl. I was waiting for you to say Eagles. For guys like Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, and Super Bowl MVP Jalen Hurts, it was their first parade experience. A second run for Eagles GM Howie Roseman, who was hit in the head by a beer can.
Oof, child.
He didn't stop the party, though.
I bleed for this city! Go Eagles! Our players, our staff have done an unbelievable job. We are two-time world champs, and we're coming back strong. Go Birds!
This team is special, and we can't be great without the greatness of others, and that certainly applies to our fans. So thank y'all for all your support, and one more time this season, E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
You can't quit. If you can't lose if you don't quit. And in Philly, we don't quit. So thank you. The next pursuit begins. Go Birds.
Man, we couldn't do it without you guys. We just wanted to tell you, man, we love you and we support y'all. We thank y'all so much, man. I got one more thing. They said I was a diva. They said all I care about was stats. If you're going to get all those things wrong about me, but one thing you can get right, I'm a champion.
And that's
Let's
true.
go.
Yeah, you're with us.
How many people do you think spelled E-G-A-L-S-E? Drunk.
Roseman's coming off an incredible 2024 season, and this offseason should be an interesting one here for him and the front office. All-pro linebacker Zach Bond, pass rusher Josh Sweat, defensive lineman Milton Williams, and guard Mekhi Becton have expiring contracts. Philly will also have to account for the loss of offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, who was hired as the Saints head coach this week. For much more, let's bring in NFL analyst Mina Kimes and insider Dan Graziano. Mina, what should be the Eagles' biggest priority this offseason?
Yeah, a few free agents on that defense. The one I would prioritize is their linebacker, Zach Bond, for a couple of reasons. Bond was fantastic this year. He was on my short list for Defensive Player of the Year. And his skill set is really hard to replace. He was like a Swiss Army knife in that defense, doing everything so smart. You don't see rookie linebackers playing at that level, whereas rookie defensive linemen are what Philadelphia specializes in drafting. This is also a very, very defensive line-rich draft. So I suspect Howie Roseman will do what he usually does and go defensive line at the end of the first round.
That would certainly be in character. And the problem with Zach Bond is he's not going to come as cheaply as he did last year. So that might mean, if you're the Eagles, that you cannot keep other free agents on defense like Josh Sweat, like Milton Williams, who were key contributors in their Super Bowl victory and to their defense all year long. So the Eagles have to make some choices, as Mina was discussing. Which do you pursue in the draft and which do you pursue in free agency? Bond was an incredible find last year for a bargain price. Obviously, they're going to have to pay to keep him. Maybe winning the Super Bowl helps, with that in terms of encouraging him to stay. But, yeah, I think he's somebody that they'll look to keep for sure.
It was one of the most remarkable defensive performances we've seen in a Super Bowl. And listen, the number's been out there a ton. Eagles sacked Patrick Mahomes 6 times without blitzing a single time. So, Mina, I feel like that was a bit of a lob. What's the Chiefs' biggest issue to address?
Yeah, this one's pretty clear. It's the offensive line, specifically left tackle. And there were issues, frankly, all across the offensive line in the Super Bowl. But finding a left tackle would allow you to move Joe Thuney back to his natural position at left guard. Now, they did draft a tackle last year, Kingsley Suamataia, and maybe they still believe in him. But I still think they need depth there. And I don't know if that means the draft or free agency, looking at some of the veterans available, like a Ronnie Stanley, for example, out of Baltimore. But it is obviously the single most important priority for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right, and the last time they lost the Super Bowl for this very reason, they made it a priority and they rebuilt the interior of that offensive line. Then a year later, they bring in Orlando Brown from the Ravens. Maybe that repeats itself with Ronnie Stanley. But Trey Smith, their outstanding guard, is a free agent as well. So they have to figure out what they're doing with him. The Chiefs will throw resources at the problem. You mentioned Kingsley Suamataia, a second-round pick from last year. They have tried at left tackle, and maybe another year offseason gets him ready to play the position. But they have to address that. They know that, and I think they'll be aggressive in doing so. One of the more difficult problems to solve will be if Travis Kelce decides to retire. What do they do to replace him? He's been a unique and special player for them for a very long time. There's probably not a plug-and-play replacement available for a guy who has meant so much to the Chiefs. They have about a month before they'll know what is going on with Kelce at the most. He's got an $11.5 million roster bonus due, third day of the league year. So obviously they're going to want him to decide by then whether he's playing or not before they have to pay him that money.
Despite all those potential changes, Kansas City tied with both Philly and Baltimore with the best odds to win Super Bowl 60 right now at plus 650. Guys, thank you so much.
Kevo, should we go to the NBA? The Lakers enter the All-Star break 5th in the West. That's after winning 10 of their last 12 games. Last two, of course, came after that blockbuster trade for Luka Doncic. Bit of a mixed bag, right? A rout by the Jazz at home and then a disappointing loss to them just a few days later. In terms of the odds, well, the Lakers enter the All-Star break now 7-1 to win the West. That's according to ESPN Bet. Only the Thunder and Nuggets have shorter odds to rep the West. Los Angeles, by the way, was 25-1 to come out of the West. That's before acquiring Luka from Dallas. Holding us down on the scene at All-Star Weekend, our NBA reporter Dave McMenamin. Dave, the Lakers won't play again for 5 days, next Wednesday. So how are they using the time off?
Yeah, I'll tell you about three of their leaders. LeBron James, I'm told, is not going to be arriving in San Francisco until Saturday night ahead of the game on Sunday. That's been his custom the last few years, to try to maximize the break as much as he can. He is in year 22, 40 years old, and he's been through 21 of these All-Star games already. Luka Doncic, this is the first time since his rookie season that he was not named an All-Star, mainly because he missed all that time with the left calf strain. He's going to be using the time with his family to relocate from Dallas to LA to try to get a little bit more comfortable for the home stretch. And talking about home, JJ Redick and his family have been without their home ever since the Southern California wildfires in January. They've been living in a hotel, and JJ Redick told me that he's going to use this time to settle some insurance claims and try to find an apartment so him and his family can be more comfortable for the second half of the season. Obviously, JJ's a workaholic. He's going to take a couple days off. He's going to be back in the office on Monday, but he's going to try to take care of that so that he can feel as good as possible, because there's a lot of basketball ahead for this group. At least that's what the leaders think.
Yeah, they certainly are, but this is like when what's the People magazine? It's like celebrities, they're people too. They've got housekeeping, they've got things they've got to handle. Dave McMenamin with the latest there. Speaking of which, the NBA second half, of course, is on the way. So for much more on that, here's Mike and Tony with tonight's PTI bonus topic.
Okay, Wilbon, what is the top storyline you're watching in the second half of the NBA season?
Okay, I'm not going to try to confine myself to one.
Really?
I got a few top storylines.
You're not going to answer the question, you're going to push?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay.
I'll start with this one. Oklahoma City, is this sustainable? I mean, I started the year telling you there's no reason to criticize the Celtics for any reason. I just don't think you're going to get a back-to-back champion right now.
You have said Oklahoma City is the best
in Oklahoma City, is this sustainable, what they're doing when you're that young and you haven't had all that much heartbreak? And I'm curious about that. But then I got Luka and LeBron. I know you're not going to disagree with that. Mm-hmm. I got the Dubs with Jimmy Butler and Steph and Draymond. I want to see all of that, those two teams. And I got another one. Nikola Jokic. Is that sustainable? Tony, he's close to a triple crown. No one's ever done that in the NBA, where you lead the league in scoring, rebounding, and assists. No one's ever done it, and yet he's in the top, not only in the top 5 in all three, he's like 3rd and 4th. He's right there looking over the top in some of them. And I just wonder, because I know I've proclaimed SGA the MVP like most of us have who have a vote. But suppose Jokic does that and Denver finishes in 2nd or 3rd in the West.
So for the record, you have left out the Dallas Mavericks as a top storyline.
Yes, I did.
And you have left out the New York Knicks as a top storyline.
Yes, and they're
with
good
your favorite,
storyline.
Isn't he your favorite player in the league?
Jalen Brunson.
Your favorite, because he's from Chicago's favorite
own.
player. So I'm going to answer this question in my former role as a sports columnist.
Okay.
And I will say that there is one storyline in the league that is so far above every other storyline in the league. There's no point in talking about other storylines in the league. And that is the Lakers with Luka and LeBron.
You are so obsessed with
Every
this.
single game should be on national TV.
It will be.
That's the greatest storyline going forward because you've never seen this before.
Yeah.
It's it. That's it. Ding, ding, ding.
Okay,
That's
well,
it.
suppose we're only got about fewer than 30 games left.
Okay.
Suppose 10 games from now, the team that has really taken off and is coming up the standings is Golden State with Jimmy Butler. Aren't you going to switch horses then?
No.
No?
No. And I love Golden State. And I love the coach and I love the player and all of that. No. The fact that you have traded Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers, one of the cornerstone franchises in the history of the NBA, and that he's with LeBron James, one of the greatest players in the history of the NBA, and doing something at his age that I don't think anybody else has ever done. No, if you're writing a column, you're there every night. Every night. That's it. Get out of here.
Get him off this. How about Dallas and can Dak get paid? You're not going to switch to that?
Can Dak get paid?
We're done. Back to you.